everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus, coming at you with a deck tech for the deck that I'll be playing in today's Modern Showcase Challenge. This is Incinerator Burn with a green splash. As a friendly reminder, if you like lightning bolt-based content, please consider subscribing to the channel, as we aim to be the most informative modern channel on YouTube with a focus on lightning bolt decks such as Red Prowess, Jund, Gruul, and a little bit of Death Shadow. So, why the departure from the lists that we've been playing in leagues and within the Mana Trader series? The thought process behind this list was there was a lot of issues sometimes with getting the green mana, having the mana set up, taking damage from mana, etc. So I wanted to kind of streamline the process of the only white card we had left in the main deck was Boros Charm. And while Atarka's Command is not quite an equivalent to Boros Charm, in a lot of situations it is equally as powerful in terms of damage output, has some utility in terms of, giving surprise +1/+1 in combat, board full of creatures does even more damage than Boros Charm, and still functions reasonably well when playing with Shudder's Incinerator, and also freed up some sideboard slots, not having to play the full four skull cracks in the sideboard. So, that said, beyond that, it's pretty much the list we've been running, other than we're running Copperline Gorges instead of Inspiring Vantages, and we're with 2 Stomping Grounds, 3 Mountains, no white sources other than the Sunbaked Canyons in the main deck. One other addition to the main deck was a Grim Lavamancer. While I'm not thinking this card is particularly good in the meta, I did want another card that could interact with goblins and humans, while also it's nice to have another enabler for Chandra's Incinerator in addition to Seal of Fire and Rift Bolt on turn 1. Beyond that, we were only running 19 lands, the 20th land's on the sideboard. Not exactly ideal, but the way the list is kind of set up, that's kind of what was going on. Sideboard, obviously with 2 copies of Path, 1 Sacred Foundry comes in the matchups that you're going to be doing those matchups. Also, Sacred Foundry comes in when you're boarding in Klothys, just to have a 20th land, be able to cast a 3-drop more consistently. This card is its most powerful when you can play it on turn 3 in grinding matchups like Jund, the attrition games of Burn and Prowess against Snow, etc. So it's kind of why this card it's been proven pretty solid, and I think being able to cast it more consistently with the mana gives us a better chance to test it out. Grim Lavamancer, obviously this is mainly here for any type of tribal decks, Gobbos, etc. 2 copies of Skullcrack, additional anti-life gain stuff with the Atarka's commands. We're up to the full 4 copies of D-Rev. I really don't want to lose to Etron and Chalice on one, pretty much. And then finally 2 copies of Tormod's Crypt, where Poseidon and some of the others have been running Surgical Extraction. I think Surgical Extraction is a little bit too narrow. Maybe it does us a little bit too much damage, and Tormod's Crypt at least is a nice hedge against Dredge. So that said, let's get into the matches. Looks like we're going to be on the upper end of 9 rounds today. So, should all go well. Your hero will play 12 rounds today, but like I've said before, I don't think Burn is necessarily in the best place in the meta. So, okay. Yeah, round, yes. Maybe. Alright, there we go. Roll number 1. Fight. So we're on the draw, which is unfortunate. But yep. 159 matches. Stands a mulligan, unfortunately. It's the Yorion deck right away. So, likely a snow deck. Yeah. I think we keep this one. Can't really afford to go to 5. And we can cast everything on 1 mana. Not the greatest, but we can cast it. And accidentally mulliganed. Oh well. Kind of funny, our accidental mulligan hand might be better than our original 6-card hand. Alright. We draw more lands than I care to draw. And Misery Born, so we're skewered. Gotcha. So we're getting Lightning Helixed on one because magic. And Morty go, sure. This, ladies and gentlemen, was why Arkham's Astrolabe used to go. You should not be able to fetch 2 basics and cast Lightning Helix. Just, it's kind of BS. Ren here. Kaya's Guile, sure. Because that's a fair and balanced magic card for us to face. And this is kind of why you can't put too much stock in events like this yet. I mean, like, it's great to do all an event, don't get me wrong. But, like, you can spend, what, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours practicing. And then immediately run into one bad matchup and you're kind of F-bombed before you even do anything. Alright. It's going to go to 13. It's a Bedless land. Goes to 5. Okay. Probably going to want to bring in Clothai in this matchup, and Skullcracks. Not sure what else we'll bring in here. Could certainly argue for Path. So if they were to tap out for Niv, we know one of their cards in the hand is Unmoored Ego. Okay, brought back Wooded Foothills, sure. So our hand is Wooded Foothills, Unmoored Ego, 3 unknowns. Alright. Okay. So we have to win this turn, basically. Alright. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Alright, Cluthai, come in. Do I want pass in this matchup? Maybe. One can go out on Grim. Go down Eidolons on the draw. And ironically, our opponent didn't get to see our green splash either, so... Alright, friendo. Definitely a keep. How would you... Oh, okay, Utopia Sprawl on one, sure. Voice of Resurgence? That'd be kind of annoying. Oh no, just a fast acceleration hand, sure. Huh, Kyle's got one too, sure. That's perfectly beatable. And they cast nothing. Interesting. Sure. Why wouldn't you have cast that last turn? That's just disgusting. Just missed a point of damage. Well, several points of damage, actually. That's going to hurt. Yeah? Do you have a removal spell? This guy will be game over. Oh, there's another Teferi. Okay. Thought erasure. Mortigo naming Monastery Swiftspear. Why is that card still in your deck? Lightning Bolt. Okay. Nice. We're back for round number 2 on the draw again. Unfortunate, but our hand's pretty solid overall. Humans. Gobbos. Alright. So, Eidolon's actively pretty bad here. Pour out your power and love. We sing glory, glory, glory. Matron on top, okay. Your power and love, as we sing glory, glory, glory. Okay. Let me try and grab munitions expert. Just thinking, I mean. Okay. Ringleader? Krenko. Sure. Because that's beatable. Alright, losing game 1 to Goblins feels pretty bad, but c'est la vie. Probably want Grim. Probably want some numbers of D-Rev. Just enough to make these Eidolons go goodbye. This could certainly be a Clothis matchup, you could argue. Certainly could be a Skullcrack matchup, certainly could be a Path to Exile matchup. I think especially on the play, I want to try to maintain the aggressor role if possible. So, and I think if our Swiftspear would have lived there without them having, well, them being able to answer our first 2 creatures was just kind of problematic for us. Maybe I was supposed to play that Eidolon earlier, but beyond that, I'm not really sure what could have done there. Like, the only time Eidolon's typically good in this matchup is either when you're pairing it with Incinerator, or when they don't have a vial on one. And even with a vial on one, having that on 2 might have been pretty decent, but it's the way it goes sometimes, unfortunately. Play. Dread 1 lander on the play, got a mulligan. This hand's actively pretty terrible, but I still think we have to keep back the Arid Mesa. This is the mediocre 6, gotta keep hand. Like, obviously ripping an Incinerator next turn or something would be awesome, but, you know, it is what it is. Feels really bad against their non. Ether Vial draws. Hold on to the Bolt to be able to answer Snoop combo. Snoop Doggy Dog. Brutality here would be pretty rough. This definitely looks like a Brutality, smells like a Brutality. Turns out is a brutality. There goes Bolt. Munitions expert or anything? Oh, I'll go Marshall, sure. With their hands like all Terrifiers and munitions experts. Sure. It's a danger of bringing in like D-Rev against creature decks like Goblins, Neutron. Sometimes they just don't have the targets, or they have Collective Brutality and they know not to play any of the targets out. We're just dead here, unfortunately. They sack their whole board. We're just at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's rough. Getting trapped with 2 D-Revs in hands just kind of... yeah, it's whatever. On to round 3. You're back for match number 3 in the Modern Showcase. Sure, open good luck. The Dread One-Lander Mulligan. Question is, what am I putting back here? Incinerator is inviting, but we have no easy way to turn it on. So I can then put back a land or an incinerator here. think on the play, I'm more inclined to put Incinerator back. Could be wrong here. Could be very, very wrong. Some Prowess, most likely. Goblin God's not terrible here. Hopefully they can't answer our creatures. Okay, confirmed they are, in fact, Prowess here. Feels like a Lutz kind of turn. Deals 3 damage. Decent chance we could die this turn. Oh yeah, real good chance we could die this turn. Yep, one more spell and we're dead. Cool. The old turn 3 die. Cool. I had lethal next turn ourselves, so. Probably interested in these Clothis. Target's commands are mildly nonsensical. Ran a couple of D-revs, maybe go down Eidolon on the draw. So I could bring in Path, but like the only card we really care about answering like that is usually Reveler. I don't normally like keeping these hands, but ripping lands is good, ripping spells is good, and we have answers to the first couple of creatures, so I'm much more inclined to keep these style of hands. Our opponent looks to be double queuing, or we would have passed through our first turn. Like, don't get me wrong, this hand is a huge risk. Alright, well. Goblin Guy's not a terrible draw here. Forces them to utilize a bolt if they have one. Which, given the circumstances, they most likely do. Wild Slash, sure, whatever. Sure. Okay. No flash back a lava dart to save your dude. Alright. Yep. Again, the longer this game goes, the more it favors us. Well, maybe not. Especially if we can rip a land next turn. Yep. Casting a lava spike's currently worth it right now. And then we're just dead. Cool. We're back with a wrap-up for the Modern Showcase Open here. Finishing up at 1-2. I could continue to grind here, but you know, at this point, you probably got to go 6-3 to top 64 with over 300 players. And even if we go 6-3 or 7-2, it's not really worth the grind at this point. Yeah, the prizes are nice, etc. But this was more of a trying to play the deck in a bigger environment. The green splash really didn't get a chance to shine terribly much. I do think it's still more practical than the blue splash that we tried a couple of videos ago. Trying to be a little bit more conservative on the life total, etc., etc. I think Klothys is a solid card in the grindy matchups, but I don't think we really played any matchups where it popped up where it would have been relevant. It's decent against Prowess. It's not great by any means. You know, like I joked in the Burn Discord, the Burn and Prowess mirrors kind of go one of two ways. Either it's a complete whitewash and it's over on like turn 3 or turn 4 one way or the other, or it slows down this grindy attrition, trade resources, like turn 8, 10, 12 game. In those kind of games, I think Klothys is an excellent card. It was certainly a gamble to keep that hand in game number 2. You know, if we were ever going to hit a third land to be able to play Klothys, you know, that was a gamble, but I felt we had the resources to kind of manage into a mid-game situation where Klothys could have popped up. The Atarka's Command and to play a land Atarka's Command thing was kind of nice. It was a cute little trick that you can kind of do a little bit cheeky with Atarka's Command. Netted us a lot of damage that turn. Did us quite a bit of damage that turn too. Maybe I was supposed to fetch a Stomping Ground there to avoid that problem. And then, yeah. It was nice to steal that win against Niv Yorion. But overall, kind of a disappointing performance, but that's the nature of these big events. You can't put too much stock into them. Like, yeah, it's nice to do well. It's nice to consistently do well. But, that happens sometimes with the matchups we run into, just the nature of how the game's developed. Gobbos, when they go the grindy mode, is really hard for us to beat, especially without the Incinerator draws. And then Prowess, Prowess can be an interesting matchup, or it can be a whitewashing, and both those games end up kind of being whitewashing. So, as far as the channel moving forward the next couple days, there's still a lot of content to come out that I've already pre-recorded. There's some more matches with the Green Splash in the Man Trader series. I also played some matches with Luris Burn in the Man Trader series. Probably work on those. We have Blue-Red Prowess League that I have to go back and re-record. And I think beyond that, I'm going to be taking a small break from Burn overall. We've done a lot of Burn videos lately, and it's time to shift to a little bit of other content for maybe the next several days. Come back to visit Burn in a little bit once things in the meta have kind of simmered down a little bit. The ban announcement coming up on Monday, etc., etc. There's going to be a lot going on in the format. So I want to take a little bit of time to work on some other decks. Also, there's going to be some changes to Pioneer, so that format might be a little bit more worth exploring again. We took some time with some Gruul decks we played a long time ago. Haven't really explored a ton of Burn in that format. There's a lot of things that might be going on that could be fun to explore in Pioneer as well. So I'm not cutting back on content. I'm just going to be taking a step away from Burn content because we've done probably, 15 videos or so in the last 2 weeks. And the content might be a little bit saturated there right now. So, Incinerator, definitely here to stay. Don't know if it's the proper build to Burn for whatever particular meta, but it certainly helps some matchups. Klothys feels like a pretty solid card overall. Whether the Green Splash is the correct build, or whether you're supposed to be still playing Boros, there's actually some debate for that now, I think, but, only results will speak to that. So, anyways, disappointing run here, but, fun overall experience. This has been John for MTG Nexus with the wrap-up of the Modern Showcase Challenge.